Hey guys, today I want to talk about trusting your woman, trusting your Filipina. What bothers me the most is with a lot of guys is even after being with their woman sometimes for 3 or 4 years, they don't trust their woman, and sometimes with good cause. And I'm not trying to put down Filipinas. Even Filipinas will tell you there's a lot of bad Filipinas out there that don't know how to handle money. Okay? And I talk to a lot of people that have gone through things with money. I myself was married to a Filipina that was very bad with money. In fact, she was atrocious, and that's all I'll say. I've talked to a guy the other day. He's going through some issues. Same thing. He had a lot of problems. Woman couldn't handle money. Almost got him into trouble. I'm not going to say who it was, but because I have quite a few people that are actually in that same boat. But when you get a good, trustworthy woman, the best way to do it is not put them in charge of everything. Put them in charge of some of it. The household budget. Things like that. And have checks and balances. My woman, my girl, and I love her to death, she's been in charge of the budget now for 3.5 years over here. Okay? And she has done tremendous at it. I break down the budget with her. I tell her what I want. I tell her where I want the money going. She puts it in the right accounts. I have some money in my account. I have some money that I have in stocks and stuff like that. So a certain amount of the budget goes right off on my side, which is in my name and stuff like that. And the other portion of the budget goes off into, like things to run the household, things to pay for any emergencies in the house, tooth issues, sickness, whatever. Most of the stuff has to do with me. Some of the stuff I put aside just strictly for them, and that's strictly for their issues. If they get sick or whatever, God forbid they had to, dip into mine. Of course, I'm going to go into my money and help them or whatever. If they're sick, they're my family, So, but I do try to separate it to a certain extent, just for reasons, just in case something ever happens or whatever. I know how much I have about me and stuff like that, but I do break it down into specific groups. Like one will be for Phil Health for my girlfriend. She has Phil Health. And I give her more than just the money that she needs to buy the Phil Health. I give her money so that she has money when she does have to use Phil Health. She can pay the other portion, so it's like kind of like a savings account or a health account, I guess you could call it. So I give her a little bit of money. And when I budget my money out like that, a lot of people look at me and say, "Wait, Steve, you're crazy, man. You save for everything." I say, "Yeah, I do." And some people can't do that because their budgets are tiny, but you can still budget. But that's why I say the sweet spot budget is the best. We talk about that often. But I want to get into this a little bit more about, having women your woman take care of your money. Some people just can't handle money. And most guys will know, yeah, my girlfriend, I don't think she could do that. And I get it, Some women, they're just not good budgeters, And some Filipinas are like that. They'll say, well, I'm going to take money, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go out and get a manicure because I saved some money here. And they start getting carried away. And those are the women you got to worry about. You have to put your foot down, check every month, check their account, make sure they have the money in there. Or if it's a dual account, both of your names. And that's the best way to have it if you can. Keep checking it. Make sure that money's going in there. And use that account, but write in a book. You might have 100,000 pesos in there, whatever, as an example. Okay, and that's not a lot of money. But you might have 20,000 in Phil Health. And you write this in the book. And you got 40,000 into some other budget thing, and 40,000 into another one. And maybe it's for your Pacific Cross you save to pay it each year in full, okay, as an example. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You need to save for these things. And you need to have some faith that your wife or girlfriend is going to take care of it, And a lot of these women can be trusted. Some people don't trust them. And if you can't trust your woman, sometimes I wonder whether you should even be with them or not. My girlfriend, I trust her impeccably. I've gone through hell before with a woman that I took to the U.S. I was young, I was stupid, you know, call me whatever you want, you know. I accept it, you know. I made a mistake. But this girl I could take back to the U.S. and not worry about it. And I know that for a fact. Some things you know in your heart. When I took my other wife back to the U.S., I wasn't sure. I kind of had my gut feelings that it might not work out when I saw her when she got there, because things changed right off the bat. The girl I'm with now, I don't worry about that, because I don't see that at all in her, that she would be like that, for several reasons. We're very connected in a lot of different ways, in that we're like best friends. You know, not only is she like my girlfriend, eventually we're going to end up getting married, and she's my best friend, you know, and someday she'll be my wife, you know, and we're together all the time. She doesn't leave the house for anything unless she leaves with me. Once in a great while, every 2 or 3 months, she'll leave and go see a friend or something like that. She goes for the day with her daughter and then comes back. And you know, I appreciate that she's always with me, because it shows her sincerity and commitment to the relationship. Some women want to be out with their friends all the time, 24/7. That gives you a big signal when that starts happening. Especially with some Filipinas over here, and I'm not putting down Filipinas, but if they're out all the time gallivanting around, it's not a good sign. It means that they're not the typical Filipina that you usually find over here. Because the majority of Filipinas over here are good, decent women, okay? And the majority of the women over here you can trust. Now, whether you can trust them with money, that's something that you have to make a decision with, and you have to kind of keep checks and balances on that, like I said. And if it doesn't work out, then you got to start reverting it back to you, and you got to take care of the budget, you know. But you are going to have to give your girlfriend money for food. You are, you know, or you're going to have to go out and do the food shopping yourself. You're going to have to, you know, have her going out and pay the electric bills, you know, the PLDT or Converge, or, you know, Wi-Fi or whatever company, smart phone bills, things like that. You know, these are things you're going to have to trust your girlfriend to do sometimes, because, you know, a relationship is 50-50, and as it should be. You know, the way I look at things is this, and I kind of told my girlfriend this when I got over here. I told her, I says, look, I'm retired. I said, I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. I says, you know, if I'm supplying all the money, there's one thing I want to ask you, because I just have worked all my life, and I don't want to be doing budgets and mathematics and all that stuff all the time. And, you know, I said, I just want to kind of retire. And, you know, I says, can you take care of all the financial issues if I give you the money to do it? She goes, sure. She was glad to. And she does a damn good job at it too. And the rest of the money I invest. You know, I invest it. I you know, I have my investments that I put money into, stocks and stuff like that. We've talked a little bit about that. I know some of you guys get ticked off when I talk about stocks. I have other people that love when I talk about stocks, so I'm still going to talk about stocks. I have some people telling me to stop talking about some subjects. And guys, this is a free channel. It's an info channel. I talk about whatever I want to talk about, you know what I mean? And I just want to let you guys know, you know, it is an info channel. And I know some subjects, people say, well, you shouldn't talk about stocks because older people shouldn't be investing in stocks. You're wrong. You're wrong. You know, older people do invest in stocks. In fact, some people invest until the day they die because they want to leave it to their kids or their wife or what have you. Or they want to plan because maybe they're going to live to be 90. Let's not be foolish here. Let's face it. All of us, you know, have to look and take care of our wives or girlfriends when we go. And some of us don't. You know, we talk about all this stuff all the time about, you know, you have to leave money behind to get yourself buried. I had a guy write to me the other day basically telling me, and I hear this all the time, what do I give a damn whether I have insurance or not? When I die, I'm dead. And I get this not just once or twice. I get it quite a lot. These people don't care. You know, they say, well, I don't care if I die in another country or if I die in the U.S. If I die back in the U.S. with no money, somebody else still has to bury me. Why do you want to put another country in charge of your death? Or some people from, you know, your girlfriend in a foreign country that can't afford it. That's irresponsible, man. You know, take care of your family, your kids, everybody. Have some respect for your body, you know, your own body, for God's sakes. You don't even care what happens to it. You know, I mean, let's have some respect. You know, that's one thing I hate about the U.S., and I'm not putting down the United States. You know, I'm a veteran. I love the U.S., but there's just something about some people in the U.S. that really pisses me off. Let's put it that way. You know, no brain, no pain, they used to say. You know, you come over here and you're thinking about just dying and letting the government take care of you or your girlfriend bury you or whatever. There's something wrong with that situation. I know a lot of people do think like that. I disagree with it strongly. You know, I mean, I love everybody, but I have a hard time when somebody talks crap like that, because we all need to be responsible. And, you know, we also need to look after our wives and stuff, and girlfriends or whatever. You know, and part of that is opening up our wallets a little bit to these people to run our budgets or whatever. We're older. You know, and somebody, as we get sick or something like that, these girls have to know how to get into your account, okay? Some of these guys get everything so locked down that, God forbid, they get sick and they can't talk. They have a stroke and they can't talk. The girl's pretty much screwed. She's screwed. You know, she's screwed. She's not going to be able to get in your money, your emergency money or anything like that. So you have to make sure that you have access to this. Things like that. You have to plan ahead. You know, and that's where your girlfriend comes in handy, making sure she has a budget and has at least a few dollars in there. And you should always have at least a few $1,000s on the side. God forbid you have to go to the hospital and the hospital says, well, we're not going to treat him unless we have $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000. I would say at least have $4,000 or $5,000 on the side, and then have more money back home and have ATM cards or credit cards or something like that around, so you can cover this stuff. You know, be careful, guys. Plan. That's why you need to have your girlfriend in charge of some things around the house. You know, and she needs to have access to at least some of your money, possibly half. If you don't want to do half, it depends on how much money you have too. If you have a lot, I wouldn't make it half, you know. But if you're fairly wealthy, you might think about having $10,000 in her name or something like that, or $9,000 or $8,000 or $5,000 or somewhere around there. Think of an amount in your head. Don't go off what I say. Remember what I said? I says, go think about what you want to give them, what you feel safe with. I'm not going to tell you an amount. I'm just telling you that they will need access. God forbid something happens, man. You don't want to find yourself in that position. Stuck in a hospital in the Philippines, you know, maybe you don't have any insurance. And I keep telling you guys, make sure you have some sort of insurance. I keep going back to Pacific Cross with the access card, who pays the hospital directly if it's one of the Pacific Cross hospitals. Something to think about. You know, a lot of times we touch on these subjects. I've done tons of videos on those. So you can go back and you can access those. You can also go to Pacific Prime, which is a different company. They're a brokerage firm. They'll give you 10 different quotes. You can go to Pacific Prime. You can find them on Google. They're pretty easy to find. I give you all the information in that video. It's way, way back. It's a ways back now, but you can still find it. You know, it's still back there if you look for it. Just think about what I said, guys. You do have to give some, you have to loosen the purse strings a little bit with your girlfriend and make sure that she has access to some things. If you're sick or if there's an emergency or you get in a jeepney accident or something like that, at least you can get your care started, okay? And you don't want to leave yourself in a bad situation over here. I've seen too many people over here have issues over here because of money. And don't put yourself in that position, guys. Please, don't put yourself in that position. You'll be thinking about my words if you ever do, because things happen over here sometimes. I've had things happen over here, medical things with the kidney stones and stuff like that. I was lucky I had insurance. I was lucky I had money aside. I was lucky I had money available. I had credit cards. I had things like that available. You know, my insurance did pick up some of it. But because I didn't have outpatient, they wouldn't cover it all. They'd only cover the emergency room charge that they have, and that was it. So they did pick up some of it. And I thank God that they did pick up that. But be careful, guys. You know, just be careful. You know, you want to be safe at all times. Anyway, guys, just want to throw that out there. Remember, Have more faith in your woman. You guys know your woman better than I do, you know, and some women I know you can't put in charge of money. You just can't, you know. And I realize that. It doesn't make the woman a bad woman. She just might not be able to manage money or something like that. She might not be the type that is mathematically inclined or whatever. I mean, I get it, you know. We're in the Philippines. I'm not saying people are stupid or anything like that. I'm just saying it's the same way in the U.S. There's some people you can't put in charge of a budget. It's just the way it is, you know. But I think that most Filipino women you can trust over here. There are types that you can't trust. And if you're with that type of woman, then I would be very careful and think about moving on to a different woman and find somebody that you can trust, you know. But yeah, just have some faith in people sometimes, you know. I hear from a lot of people, and a lot of the guys out there, they're with good Filipinas that they trust, and their women take care of the budget and everything. And sometimes it's 20 years down the road, something happens because they put too much trust into their woman. So keep in mind, always keep an eye on what's going on with your woman, you know, because things happen. Make sure you work together with her. Yeah, you can let her do it, but do it together to a certain extent so you know what's going on. Make sure you keep checking that account. Make sure that money's getting in there to those things. Make sure she has a book. She's writing those things down in the book. Make sure you have a budget up on a whiteboard, all that stuff. Have a little faith. Work together and you'll be fine, you know, because then you see what's happening. If you see what's happening and you know what's going on, you'll feel safer, you know. I get the trust issue. I really do. Things happen in marriages too. And if a woman starts saying, what, you don't trust me? Say, it's not that I don't trust you. I just like to know what's going on. And if they can't live with that, then that's on them. You know, just be careful, guys. God bless. Take care.